We thank God for how far He has brought us. This is episode 8 of my journey from courtship to life after honeymoon. So I've done a lot, I've shared a lot of my personal story of how everything started and where we are now. So last 2 weeks I talked about our honeymoon, our first sex, and now we are back home, back to real life. Okay, so if you are joining us for the first time, please make time and watch the previous episodes. Okay, there's a lot that you need to learn, especially if you are planning for your wedding or if you've just been married. You need this to be able to help you, because one of the things I've realized is that most of us are not most married people, because we want to protect our marriage, the integrity of our marriage. There are certain things that we don't share, but to make an impact on the lives of people, you have to be vulnerable. You've got to be able to share. And I realized that I cannot share if I'm not being real, okay? Because you can tell me general things, I can tell you general things about marriage, but for somebody to really go away with something positive that they can actually work with, you need to be more real. Okay, you say the thing the way they are likely to encounter it. In as much as every marriage is different, but some things are general to every marriage. And one of the things that happens after the honeymoon is that you realize that you are beginning to discover so many things about each other that you probably never thought existed. Okay, so that is what this episode 8 is going to be focused on. The main focus after honeymoon, what next? Okay, and thank you all for watching the previous episodes. They are really doing well, and those of you who keep sharing our videos, God bless you. Thank you for your support. We couldn't have done this without you believing in us and believing in the vision. So God bless you so much for all that you do for us. Right, so after honeymoon, what next? And I'll put here that reality is next. Reality. You come to real life. And no matter how real you are in your relationship or during the courtship period, during your friendship, there are some things that you will never know about each other until you start living with each other as a husband and a wife. Okay, one of the things that I've always said is that never pretend when you are in a relationship. Be real, because the person needs to know what they are marrying, what they are bargaining for, because they're going to spend the rest of their lives with you. So if you let them know who you truly are and they still accept you and marry you, then you know you've got a good husband, you know you've got a good wife. Okay, so that has always been my mindset, being real. And I'm the kind of person that if I see something I'm not happy with, I'm going to say it. Okay, I remember when I was in my relationship, a lady said to me, "Oh, please, don't get upset, don't complain. If he does something, just keep quiet, and when he marries you, you can start saying it." And I said, "No, that is not me. Okay, I don't like to pretend. I don't like it. So I'm not going to pretend with you. You see what you see is what you get. Okay, and if you don't want me, you don't like me for who I am, then you make your decision." So pretense has never been a part of me in our relationship. And I believe that with him too, it has never been, because he's the type of person, he will sit you down right now and say, "Okay, so this and that, let's address it." Okay. But then, with all that being said, there are still things that you can never know until you start living together. Because one of the things that as human beings, the natural thing that we do is we always put our best foot forward. We always paint a positive, a good picture, a good image of ourselves when we are with other people, or when we are in a relationship, or as soon as we come out of the house. We are all in the best, behavior. Okay. somebody said that people in church, when you go to church, all the people you see, they are all actresses and actors. Okay, because we are putting on our best attitude. Even when somebody steps on your feet, you want to, if left you alone, you will step on their feet back. But because you are in church, it's like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, it's okay. Okay, so we pretend. Okay, we put on our best attitude, and it's natural. It comes to every human being like that. Okay, so you may not want to pretend, you may not want to, it's not like you want to deceive somebody, but that is just what it is. So in the relationship, you are doing the right things. You are putting in the best attitude because you want this person to choose you. I remember when I was dating, when we're about to get married, and the work I was doing, it was so tedious. I will have to drive. I drive throughout the day, going to customers' houses, sit down with them. I'll do income and expenditure. We give them loans. The company was a loan company, so it was just a lot of work. And we had a rota whereby every weekend, it's either he visits me on a Saturday or I visit him on the next Saturday. And there were days that I get home and I'm so tired. I really want to just sleep. But then I look at my room and I'm like, nah, I need to clean this room. I can't let him come and see this room like this. Let me just tidy up. And it doesn't matter how, even if it's 10 p.m., 12 p.m. that I go home, I will clean the room for him not to come and see any mess. And that's how many of us are. But then when you start living together and you get home and you are that tired, you are not now coming to say, let me clean this, let me do this. He knows you came home late. He can see that you are tired. So naturally, there are certain things you don't do again when you are married, okay? And, personally, I think that marriage so far, what I like about marriage so far is the realness, how real you are to each other, and the vulnerability that it brings. I just love it. People ask me, so what aspect of marriage do you like very much so far? And I will say to them, I'll give them this example that, some of you start laughing. I like the fact that, when you are single, you don't even want your boyfriend or your girlfriend to think that you can fart, let alone to poo. Excuse my language. You don't even want them to have that idea that, hey, this lady can poo, this lady can fart, this lady can... But when you get married, this is not an issue. You can poo in front of each other. Seriously, one person is brushing their teeth, another person is on the toilet. And you are there. And I know the married people, this will not be a shock to you. This will not be any... But if you are single, this is like, it's not going to smell. You hardly, at the beginning, you may not even smell it. Honestly, sometimes we'll be at home and I'm looking for my husband. It's like he's gone to the toilet and I'm waiting for him. And he takes long. I want to tell him something. I go there, I'm like, you're still here. And then I'll stand there and it's like, peace, I'm in the toilet. I said, yeah, and I'll just stand there and we'll be chatting. He's pooing, I'm standing in front of him, we are chatting, and I never thought I could do that. But it comes so natural because these things don't matter anymore. It's like, this is real life. And the same thing, he may be bathing and I'm on the toilet. So I like that aspect because, we always present ourselves. We were in the same church. I saw him always come to church looking spotless, wears his suit to come. He danced, he prays, youth leader. Sometimes he leads praise and worship. And I sometimes also led praise and worship. I was in the youth. And we all presented ourselves. So you always see this aspect of the person. And when you start living together, now you realize, oh, okay. So that is what I like. I like the fact that you get to see things the way they are, that other people will never see. Okay. You can imagine a president. There are certain things that a president's wife knows about the president that nobody else knows. And that's the beauty of marriage. I just love that aspect. Yeah. And, sometimes I can just enter. I just read something that my husband posted. And initially when he posted it on the Amewowor group a few months ago, I read it and I didn't see that aspect. I just read it again today. I will read it later on for you guys. And I was laughing. We go to the bathroom. We bath together most of the time. If we are going to somewhere together, if we are going to church together, or we are going out together, just to make things quick, we bath together. Not every day, once in a while. And one of the freedom you have is you get to see the way the person bath. You enter, you watch them. When you are single, you can't do that. Sometimes I just stand there and I'm watching him. When ladies and men are very different. When we are shaving, ladies, you shave your armpit, you shave your private part, and that's it. Men, they shave their beard, they shave their armpit, they shave their private part, and then they shave their scrotum. Yeah, I'm going to be very real. Testicles, where the scrotum is what covers the testicles. And the funny thing is, because I've not really seen these things physical like that. Sometimes I just go and stand there. My husband is shaving. I'm like that. I'm looking. He will lift something up, and I'm like, ooh, I'm looking, and it's like, what are you doing? I'm saying, I'm enjoying this. These are some of the realities. You get to see how they do things, how they keep themselves clean. And I just personally love it. I just love that freedom. You get access to their privacy without anybody saying, leave. No. One day I tried to play with him. We went to the bathroom. We're going to bath. I went first, and then I started bathing. And I intentionally locked the door. I locked the door. So he was coming in. He knocked. He was trying to push the door and it wasn't open. So he knocked. And I said, who is that? I said, who is that? Who is that knocking? And he didn't respond. So I started laughing. And then I opened the door. He was standing there like, seriously? He said, peace, seriously? And I started laughing. I said, I did it on purpose, he was looking at me and saying, who else is in this house? Some of those things, we just play. You get to play more. When you're in a relationship, you think you really play, but, when you are together, especially when it's just the two of you. I don't know how it works if you get pregnant immediately, because pregnancy brings its own challenges and throwing up and falling sick. And so maybe you may not be able to do some of these things. I don't know. But in our case, we are able to do certain things that when we're courting, we're not able to do. I have a funny way that I make my husband laugh. And maybe if you are married and you've never done this, you've never tried to play with your husband, you could try and do it. If you've never played with your wife, try and do it. Okay, so if you're a husband, don't be too serious. If you're a wife, don't be too serious. Okay, let the person feel comfortable to come to you and play with you. Okay, because we didn't get married early, most of our mates got married. My church, most of the people in my age group got married before us. So when we're even getting married, all our bridesmaids and groomsmen we're all married for years. So I have been going to hen nights, people's hen night, and some of the advice that I kept hearing was, play with your husband's manhood. And they say it, and because we were single, it's like you want to hide, you close your eyes, and I'm like, how do you do that? There was a lady she was saying, touch him, let her touch you, play with his penis, turn it around, look at it. And, we got married and I was like, okay, this is time to experiment, freedom. So sometimes I will do what I have to do, I will look at it, I will touch it, he will touch me, we will touch each other. So touch each other, play with each other, it is your body. The first time I did this, I just walked to my husband. I walked to him and then I turned my back. By the grace of God, I'm blessed with the African back. So I turned my back and I was like, King. He was busy, he was doing work. I was like, King, can you touch my bum, please? And he was like, why? I think he was so shocked. He thought somebody is laughing. Let me see your comments. Some people are already laughing. I was like, can you touch my bum? And he was like, why? He was so shocked. He thought maybe there's something wrong with my bum, or there was something wrong with me. So I said, can you touch my bum? And he was like, why? I said, nothing. It's yours. Touch it, play with it. And then he caught the gist, so he wanted to now also make a fun out of the whole thing. He was like this is finger like this. And assuming this is my bum, he's like, he just did. So I started laughing. We were all laughing. We laugh, and then we some of those things that you get to do when you are in the relationship, you may not be able to do it. Excuse me. You may not be able to do it. And you get to see each other's vulnerabilities, how vulnerable each other is, things that they do that you think, this thing, you're not doing it properly. Is that how you do it? Really? Is that how you bath? Is that how you clean your teeth? Really? Is that how you, because some people, there are some people when they bath from their tummy up and then come down. There are some people, they start from their leg and then it climbs up. There are some people start from their head and then down. People have different ways of doing things. So you'll be seeing the person doing some weird way they do things. It's like, is that how you do it? Is that how? Okay, you will not know this until you are living together. Okay, even how they sleep. My husband have a certain way of sleeping, and anytime he sleeps, I'll be like, can you turn around, please? I'll wake him up. Please turn around properly. And there was a day I was saying to him something that he did whilst he was sleeping. I said, do you realize you do this? And then he also said, you also do the same thing. And I said, are you saying that because I've just told you that you do this? He said, no, it's true, you do it. So people do so many things when they are sleeping. There are some people that they will be talking when they are sleeping. When we were in the boarding house, there's this lady that she was a junior. She will be talking. And some of the things she's saying, very scary things, as if she's in a party and they are talking about different stuff. She'll just be talking, and she's deeply sleeping. Some people are like that. There are some people, they sleepwalk. We had another lady like that in the hostel. Those of you who went to Agri Memorial or Ghana National, Cape Coast, if you've heard about Dory Babs, I was there for the first 1 year before I went to the campus, the boarding house itself. There was this lady that we were there. She will wake up that she's going to wee. We will think she's going to just wee. By the time we realize, we can't find her. She's sleeping and walking. She's just going. Some people are like that. And if you've never been in the same room, slept in the same room with the person, you'll never know until you get married. Okay. There are some people, when they are sleeping, their mouth becomes watery. They wake up and there's all white all over. You see here, everything white. You see everything there white. And you don't see this when you are in the relationship. You don't see it. Okay. What else did I say here? Some people everybody have bad breath when they wake up. There's this morning breath that everybody have. Some people, they may have a stronger one. It's all there. When I was single, one of the things that I used to ask is, people usually say married people have sex early in the morning, at dawn. And I used to ask, so does it mean that they will wake up and go and brush their teeth and come back before they have the sex? Because I couldn't imagine how you have sex, you are kissing, and the person hasn't brushed their teeth. So it used to marvel me, and they said, don't worry, when you get married, you understand. And it's true. It will not bother you anymore. It will not bother you. It's almost like you don't even smell it. You smell it, but you don't smell it, because there are more important things than bad breath. And I'm not saying that you should take bad breath lightly, but in the morning, I don't know anyone who wakes up in the morning and their mouth is smelling very nice. No. Okay. So all these things are there. I have a particular way that at the beginning, when I'm sleeping, because I've been single for a long time, and I was used to my own bed, sleeping alone. The duvet was for me alone. I'll wrap myself and hide in the duvet. And I got married and I was doing the same thing. No putting my husband in consideration, thinking that he's there. I would just wrap the whole thing. I'll wrap it. And my husband is saying, please, can you give me some? It's like, give me some of the duvet. And initially I didn't catch it. I was thinking, why is it a big deal? And then later he was telling me, because it was cold, we got married during the time that it was very cold. When I wrap myself like that, it means that his feet are not covered. The duvet is not covering his feet, so he'll be feeling cold. And he was so nice, he wasn't telling me plainly for me to get it. So one day he said, I'm cold, I can't feel, my feet are not covered. And I said, oh, okay. That was how I changed, because I will wrap myself, it's like all the duvet is for me. Meanwhile, it's two people to share. You know, so some of those things you get to discover. And there are some people that will make a big deal out of this, because like, they feel like, why you think it's only you in this bed and you're taking over all the bed. You know, there are some people when they sleep, they roll around. They sleep, their head is here, they wake up and their leg is over there. They've rolled around. You will never see these things until you get married. Okay, so the singles, when you get married, or if you just got married and you are seeing some of these things, don't be too shocked, and don't think that a person has deceived you or they've changed. It is just how they were, but you never knew, because you never lived together, so you will see. Okay. And there was another thing that I used to do as well. When I was little, my daddy used to put me to bed, so he would put me at his back, and because my mother was trading at that time, so he would put me at his back and he will carry me until I sleep. Sometimes he will put his hand on me. I never knew that thing was still in me until I got married. So I got married and I'm like, can you put your hand on me? Can you put your hand on me? Like, I feel like he should pat me to sleep. Very strange. So one day he was saying, where is this from? I said, I don't know. So then it clicked. I said, you know, I remember my dad used to do this for me. And it was almost like, now I've got another daddy. So I'm expecting that he will tap me. And I used to, until he does it, I won't sleep. I won't. So I would just be, can you put your hand on me, please? And then it got to a point, naturally, he would just put his hand on me. And funny enough, immediately he does that, within 5 minutes, I'm gone. I'm asleep. You know, it's so strange how there are certain things that that's why childhood experiences plays a major role in the way somebody turns out, the way they behave, the way they think. Because some of these things, you think that it's gone or they are not important, but they play a role. So if you are not patient and you feel like, why should I put my hand on you before you sleep? Are you a baby? Are you a child? You know, and then you start fighting. Okay, so I'm just being real. You know, there are some people who do worse things. There are some people, maybe they even want the man to hug them, give them a heavy hug before they sleep. These things happen, and you get to know these things when you get married. Okay, you also get to know how they behave under pressure. Okay, because as I said, we all can put on the best attitude on the phone. If you're under pressure, if you're going through a difficult situation and you are crying, if your boyfriend calls you or your girlfriend calls you, you may wipe out the tears and start talking normal as if nothing has happened. But once you are living together and you've had a bad day, something bad has happened, naturally, when you are crying, he's going to see you. He's going to see it. If he's crying, if something is not able to handle it properly, you will see it. Okay, so it's nice seeing the person for who they really are when they are under pressure. One of the things that I learned from my readings and messages around gaining knowledge is that men, naturally, when they are having difficult situations, they like to be isolated. They keep themselves to themselves. They go very quiet, unlike women who will talk and pour out all their emotions. Men are not like that. And I've seen this with my husband. When we got married, the first few months, we were expecting a return of some investment we've done. The money was supposed to have come in, I think 4 weeks, 6 weeks maximum, but then it took almost 4 months to come. And we had so many things that we wanted to do. So there was pressure, and sometimes I'll come back home. He normally sometimes he finishes work earlier than I do, sometimes he comes late. So I come back home and he's in the bed, and I'm like, are you okay? He's just sleeping. Are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. But I knew that, the fact that we've prayed and prayed, waited for this thing, we've done everything and it's still delaying. What is the problem? So that was how he was handling the whole pressure. And I'll come, he's in the bed, and sometimes I'll just sit there, can't do much, and then I leave, come to the kitchen or come to the hall, and when things picked up, he bounced back. So you will need to know these things, and it's not that if the person is not talking to you because of that challenge, it means that they are angry with you. You have to understand gender differences. Hopefully we'll do this on this broadcast, on this platform one day. Gender differences. How do people handle things? Sometimes when I'm very angry, Swalians, they sometimes get me. I mean, there are certain things that people do. I did a broadcast just last week. We were talking about the honeymoon, and a Swalian left a message in the comments. Is it okay to have sex with your girlfriend? And I felt like using a cane on him, And when I saw it in the room, I was screaming. I said, "Can you imagine? After all the teachings we've done, all the things we are saying on the WhatsApp group, this guy came in the public." I just felt like, even though nobody knew that he's a Swalian, I felt so embarrassed. I felt like, wow, this person. Upon all the teachings, you are asking me this question. Are you telling me that you don't know the answer to this question? Of course, you don't have sex with your girlfriend. You don't need me to even say this to you. We all know. You may go and hide and do it, but we all know that until you are married, you are not allowed sex. So I saw it and I was very upset. And I was just talking. And that's a woman for you. We are not the type that will be upset and be sitting quietly, and we want to talk, we want to voice out. So I'll be talking, and it's like, please, he's not here. The person you are upset with is not here. So you're just talking. And I also had, at the beginning, this attitude whereby when I'm very upset, especially with him, I will just hide myself in the duvet. I'll cover myself. I'll go under the duvet, cover myself. And it's like, I don't even want you to see my face. I don't want you to see my angry face, So I'll be talking from inside the duvet. It's so bad. And he will just come and sit there. He said, can you take this duvet off? Let's talk. And I'm like, no, that kind of thing. And these are some of the things. So you get to know how they behave when they're under pressure, when they are angry, how they use words. And unfortunately, there are some people that they are not very good with their words. They don't know how to put their words together, and they don't know how to stay positive. So they will go into the negatives and start using insults. Okay, somebody can look at their husband and say, "You are stupid, you are a fool." Somebody will look at their wife and say, "You are good for nothing." And I've always said that if you are a Swalian, if you are single, you are dating, you've not married the person yet, if they can use abusive words on you, please do not marry them. If your girlfriend is telling you that you are stupid, you are a fool, do not marry her, because it's just a sign of what she's going to do. She's going to deal with you when she gets married to you. Okay? And nobody should put you down. Nobody, even if you are indeed a stupid person, it shouldn't come from your wife. It shouldn't come from the mouth of your wife. It shouldn't come from the mouth of your husband. Under no circumstance should you look at your wife or your husband and say, you are good for nothing. It should never happen. So if you're a married person and you are doing that, please, it doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on you. The best person to encourage your husband, to encourage your wife, is you. If you start insulting them, they go out, other people are praising them. They see the difference. It's like you are not worth it. Okay, so at the beginning, excuse me, at the beginning when you are adjusting and you're beginning to see some of these things and you are angry and all of that, somebody's laughing at the fact that I hide under the duvet. I don't do it anymore, by the way, at the beginning, because, you know, you get to see some of these things, and if you're not careful, your temper, it's not the best, okay? And that's one of the things that I thank God for. We respect each other. My husband and I, by the grace of God, we respect each other. Never use any abusive. I can't even do it. How? You're going to look at your husband and say, you are, Eish. I've never done it, by the grace of God. My mouth, yeah. And I've even written here that one of the strengths of my husband is his positivity. He's so positive. Sometimes, you know, the WhatsApp group, sometimes people become very negative and I get so upset, and I say, oh, I try to correct them. And it's because of this positivity, staying positive no matter what. Okay, no matter what is going on, stay positive. I've never heard my husband use any negative word since I've met him. And I'm not saying this because it's my husband. That's just how it is. Negative word, never. Sometimes I'm so angry. Maybe somebody has done something, and you know, naturally you come home, you want your husband to support you, you want your wife to support you. So you come and you tell your husband, oh, you know, this person did this, I'm hungry, you know, blah blah blah. Excuse me, I've just eaten, so I keep burping. Sorry about that. They keep you are angry and you're saying this person did this. Can you imagine that they called me and they said this to me? Blah blah blah. In as much as he can see all the negatives, he can see that you are right, and he will not fuel it. You know, he will not say, oh yeah, how dare this person do this? No. You just listen, you keep quiet, he won't utter a word. And then he will say something to challenge your mind that will cause you to start thinking positively. So insult and those kind of things, never tolerate it. Never tolerate it. So please, no matter what, don't insult each other. Don't demean each other. Don't make each other feel like they are not worth it. Okay, because you're just discovering things about them. They haven't changed. It's just you are in reality now. You are close. And the closer you are to somebody, the more real the person becomes to you. The more you begin to see their weaknesses, their strength, and all of that. Okay. Yeah. And then you get to know their strength, what they are very good at. Yeah, I'm the kind of person that if I know that this is what God wants me to do, I put my 100% to it. I do it. If I want to do it, I'll do it. And my husband knows that. And if I don't want to do it, or if I feel the time for this thing has ended, the purpose of this thing has ended, you can go to heaven and come back. You know, I used to run this prayer chain that I started with one of my friends in church, in my previous church. We ran it for 4 years with the youth. It was on WhatsApp. That was where God trained me how to manage a WhatsApp group. So when I started Swell, it was like, you know, God has already trained me for that. So some of you are currently doing certain things at church, and you don't even know that God is using that to prepare you towards your purpose. Okay, I was doing that and I was chasing people. I was trying to get them. I made sure that the young people were leading every week. So what you see on the WhatsApp group, we have people leading. The same thing I used to do. I put a rota. Every young person this week, you lead the whole week. You come up with your own topic, you lead the whole week. The next week, another person leads, and all of that. And I did it. When it got to the time that I knew that the time for that has ended, I left it. I handed it over. The same thing. Choir. I was in the church choir. I was at the time that I wanted to stop because I knew I have a calling in terms of music. I've written some songs. I've got over 20 songs that I've written. And some of them we even did instrumentals and we played it in church. So when I wanted to step down from the choir and focus more on my vision, I was I was struggling. Initially, I was thinking, God, I have a calling here, I have a calling here. I need to really sharpen my music skills. And so I was struggling to step down, but because the time for it has come for me to step down, everything I did was just not working. I was really struggling to keep up to it. So one day I went to see the leader. I said, I'm sorry, I'm taking a break. I took a break. If I can't do it, once I feel the time has come, and my husband knows that. So sometimes when, there's something that he wants me to do, I'm not showing too much passion. He just knows, peace, this thing, you really don't want to do if you really want to do it. Because if I really want to do it, I'll wake up. Even if it's midnight, I'll wake up and do it. So you get to know people's strength, how they do things, the way they make decisions, and all of that. And the big thing as well about marriage is that most people don't dress up the way they appear outside. So maybe when you were courting, your wife used to do makeup every day, makeup. They dress nicely. The man is always dressed nicely, looking spotless. And then you get married, and the whole day they are in their pajamas, or the whole day they are in their nightgown. And honestly, that is a very, 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 very wrong thing to do. And it starts from singleness. When you are single and you are home, wear something. I remember when I was single, I had a friend. We used to go and do shopping. Sometimes when we go, I would say I want to buy things that I can wear at home. And she was like, who buys things to wear at home? Wear some of your old stuff at home. And she used to say that. I would laugh. But if you don't learn how to do it whilst you are single, because you are home, it's just you, especially if you live alone. Nobody is visiting you. So you can be in your pajamas the whole day. And if you're not careful, you get married and you are doing the same thing. So most people, we are courting each other. You are seeing the person looking very spotless, and then you get married. And even for them to come out of the bed to get a bath is an issue. And then it becomes a problem. So these are some of the realities. So many people, they get married, they are only bathing once a day. They don't bath twice a day. And that's another topic on its own. They don't feel like, oh, I've not been out. So why should I bath twice a day? I'm just going to bath once. Even the once, sometimes some people don't bath once a day. They don't want to bath. There are some people that don't even brush their teeth twice a day. So you get to know all of these things. But when you were single, you never picked it up. Yeah. So some of these things can then start causing issues. Yeah. One of the things that you also get to know is how they do things, how they like things to be done. Okay. You may think that maybe they want tea with a lot of sugar. Okay. Maybe they just want tea with 1 sugar or 1.5 sugar. I will read, when I finish this broadcast, I'll read a message that my husband posted. And some of the things, the way he likes it and the way I like it and the way we make it work. Okay. My husband is very meticulous. And I picked this up when we were single. We used to help our church. We used to be in a place called Amewowor, and then we moved to Rashi Green, our church. So when we're in the Amewowor branch, every Wednesday we'll go to church, after work in the evening we'll go to church and help, because we had a Wednesday prayer meeting and some of the pastors come and they eat. So we go there and we serve them food and then we wash up. And I realized that whilst we were there, when we wash up the plates, after I have wiped it, because we wipe them and we put them away. When I finish wiping, he will go and wipe it again. And I used to ask him why, and he said he still see like water. Okay, so I knew that he was meticulous, and we used to call him Mr. Meticulous. But I didn't know the degree of it until we got married. And actually, it's another level. It's another level altogether. Sometimes I clean something or I arrange something and he comes and it's like, you didn't do it properly. And then he'll go and arrange it again. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this arrangement I've done. But again, people like to do things in a certain way, in a particular way. And if you don't do it that way, then it could bring argument. So how do you handle that? Yeah, you need to know that both of you are different. You are not the same. There's a way you like things, the other person will not like it that way. It doesn't mean that the other person's way of doing things is wrong. It's just that they are different. And so you have to accept it and find a way to work around it. I've talked about addressing, eating, food. When we were single, because we were in the same church, we had a lot of youth outings that we did. And anytime we went to the restaurant, I'll see my husband's plate. He will pile the plate with so much food. So in my head, I used to think, wow, this guy can eat. I thought he likes to eat. It's like, and I used to also hear from people, my friends who got married, that, you know, a lot of men eat a lot of soup, or they eat a lot of stew sauce. Yeah, when they serve themselves, they will pile a lot of sauce, and you know, so within 2 days, the whole saucepan of stew is finished. So that was one of the issues they were having. So they have to cook and cook and cook. So I had all of this thing in my mind. I was like, wow, this guy that eats like that. And it's amazing. We got married, and my husband is not eating that way. I was like, well, I thought you eat a lot. You serve the food, it's okay. Very economical. Very economical. I probably even eat more than he does, or eat more stew. The stew that he will use for 5 days or the whole week, I can finish it within three days. So it is like opposite, yeah. And these are some of the things. You will begin to see different things, the way they eat, how they eat. My husband says when I eat, I make a lot of noise. There was a day he was bathing, I was eating, and then he called me from the bathroom. He said, "Peace, I can hear you." I can hear you from the bathroom. I said, "No way, this is not true." He said, "I can hear you. Your plates are making noise. Your mouth is making noise." I said, "Hey, King, are you serious?" You know, so you get to discover things about your own self that you never even knew that were there. You know, through my husband, I got to know that I'm not as good with finances as I thought. I thought that, you know, I learned how to save. I've mentioned a few principles of saving that I've saved. I did investments. The first world event, I handled it, paid for it, because I have been saving and all of that. So I thought, I'm not too bad. But then I got married to my husband. It's like every penny counts. And when you are with a man who is very conscious, money conscious, not in a bad way, but it's like they want to account for every penny, you almost feel like this person is stingy. You know, one day I said to him, "Are you sure you are not just trying to be stingy?" Because the way, and he said no, you know. And I do understand, because the type of work, his profession is such that he gets to meet a lot of people who have a lot of money. So when you come back home and you look at yourself, you want to get to that level that those people have got to. So you are very careful about how much money is going out, what is coming in. We don't spend anyhow. I don't remember the last time I walked to the shop and start buying things since we got married. And that's one of the things that changes as well. You know, when you are single, you've got the freedom. You use your money anyhow. You don't need anybody's permission to buy something, to spend your money. You've worked for it. You spend it. You know, some people in their singleness, they are so wise, so they're able to do some tangible things with their finances. Unfortunately, some of us, we spend all of it on makeup, on dresses and shoes, and we become broke. And you are 30 years, you don't have any money, you don't have anything to your name. So that's an advice to some of us who are overspending. If you are married, you already know, if you don't take care of your finances, you are going to struggle. Okay, so that's one of the things that I had to start learning how to be economical. Recently, I went to work and I had to go and buy food. And the food was going to cost me like £7. That was just lunch. And I was looking at the money. I was like, wow, if I should spend £7 on just lunch, what am I going to say to my husband? He would just look at me and like, please, seriously? Because £7 can buy so many. If I tell you how much we spend a month on food, you'll be shocked. As compared to that £7 that I have to use on one lunch. So I was so cautious. Oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? What would he say? I didn't want him to think that, I'm not being cautious and I'm wasting money. So I was just careful. And I said, you know what? He will understand. He's my husband. It's a one-off. So I bought the food. And the food even almost gave me poison. It was another thing all over. So, you get to learn, you get to know how they handle money, their beliefs about money, their behavior towards money. There are some people, they think every money that they bring in is for them only. It is not your money. Everybody has their money. That's another thing that we'll talk about later on about finances. So you get to know how they relate to money. And then you get to know more about them sexually, how they are sexually, and those are the things that will really, the vulnerable aspects that I was talking about. You get to know when they are sexually aroused or when they want to have sex. How do they behave? You get to know all of that, and men have they have a funny way they behave. And when a man wants to have sex, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are in the bathroom, whether you are cooking, whether you are eating. There was one particular thing my husband did some time ago, and I said, hey, I'm going to write a book about it. And he said, yeah, people will buy. They will buy the book. It will sell. Unexpected times that you will not even imagine that, he will ask for sex. He will ask for sex. So you get to know how they behave. And you, the lady too, the man gets to know how you behave during sex. Because when people are sexually aroused, they are in a different world altogether. The way they behave, that's why you see how vulnerable human beings are and how frail they can be as well. My husband is not the everyday sex type. Before I got married, one of the things that I learned is that every man loves sex. They love sex. They will chase you. Our mothers, when they're advising us, they will say, you don't have to, don't even worry. When you get married, your husband will chase you with sex every day. You will even be tired. So it was in my mind that, when I get married, sex is going to be every day. It's going to be every day. So I was looking forward that, this is the ball game, And then we got married, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And I remember I used to ask my husband, are you okay? Are you sure you don't need me sexually? Are you sure you don't want sex? Because I was shocked to see that he wasn't every day asking. And I was just expecting too much expectation. Not that I wanted to do it, but it was because it was engraved in my mind that men love sex. I was surprised that a whole day or 2 days will go by without him making any attempt. So I literally had to ask him. I had to ask him sometimes before we sleep. I'll dress up nicely, and I'm expecting that he will touch me, and he's not touching me. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you sure you're fine? And he said, yeah. He said, don't worry. If I need sex, I'll ask you. Don't worry at all. So you get to know them sexually. Unexpected times. Unexpected. You cooking, you put the food, you turn off the fire. Then you do, and then you come back and finish cooking. So those are some of the things that you get to know, you get to see, which you will never see when you are dating the person. Okay. And then when it comes to food choice, because there is a way you like your food, there's a way he likes his food. There are certain types of food that when I was single I never ate. I never did any, I never cooked any potato chips at home. Chicken was not something that I would eat. I don't remember the last time I went out and bought chicken and come and cook. But when I got married, these are some of the things that my husband was cooking at home. He loved them. So I make them. And sometimes we cook. I don't even think about myself. I'll ask my husband, what do you want to eat? And then what he wants to eat, I'll make it. Or he himself will make it, and then we all eat. So there's certain things that a lot of things that you have to compromise. You discover so many things about each other that you never thought they are like that, he's like that. Yeah. Sometimes you also get to know how slow some men can be. Women naturally are very quick. They are very quick. I make decisions like that. Just like that. I don't think about what I want to eat. I'll just go to the fridge and put something together. I don't think about it. But then I'll ask my husband, what do you want to eat today? And it's like, he will look up to heaven, look down on earth, look around. He will be watching this video. I'm sure he will be laughing. He will come to me as a piece, really, And seriously, he would take so long to decide on food. I'm like, hey, kid, food too. Do I have to wait? And when you speak to married people, they will tell you that naturally women are quicker. They like to do things. Men can be slow, yeah, but I don't see it as a weakness per se, because as a male, even in any decision that they have to make concerning the house, God holds them responsible for anything that happens to their house, to their home, to you, to their marriage. So of course they have to take their time and think. And they are logical beings. They think through things. We are more emotional. So we just immediately we feel something, we wake up and we start doing it. And that's why so many women make a lot of mistakes. Men are cautious. They take their time to do things. And it's amazing how, because of how we are fast, we feel like they are slow. And it just blows my mind that even food, he will take his time to think about it. We were doing a training, and there was a lady who was saying, she was sharing about her marriage. It's just random. She just started sharing about her marriage. They just became 25 years in marriage. And I think she mentioned it because I said to her that I was married 6 months. I'm 6 months in my marriage. And then she said that she called her husband. She was on the way home. They didn't have food at home. So she was planning to get food on the way, before she gets home. She called the husband. She was like, what do you want to eat this evening so that I can get it on my way? And the man couldn't decide. He said it took 10 minutes on the phone. 10 minutes is a long time on the phone. He said the man couldn't decide. So he said to the man, you know what? I'm going to have to call you back. So whilst you are waiting, start thinking, and so that by the time I call. So she was sharing it, and I thought, oh, so this thing is not just my husband. It's like men can be slow sometimes. Apologies to our men, but they can be slow. The way they decide things. Yeah, so sometimes I have to wait. It's like I want a decision to be made quick, and it's like, I'll come back to you. It's okay. So it's not easy. You've got to be patient. And as the singles, as I'm saying this, you are at a better position now, because it means that you have to start tuning your mind, your mindset, working on your mindset, tuning your mind. And if you've just got married, you've got to realize that it's part of the whole journey, and you've just started. You're beginning to get to know each other. So you've got to compromise, you've got to be patient, you've got to be understanding, knowing that you are different, you will do things differently. But it doesn't mean that the person has changed. It doesn't mean that the person is the wrong person for you. It doesn't mean that your marriage will not work out. It doesn't mean that you should fight. I can tell you, we haven't fought. Yeah, sometimes people say that, and I will read the message that he sent. You see the differences, and yet, people say, oh, it's not possible for you to marry and not argue. It is possible. The Bible says there is nothing that is impossible. There is nothing. So the thing is, many of us have seen arguments. We've seen people argue. So it has become part of our mind that, married people should argue. Yeah, we have to argue. Some of you, even though you are not arguing, you feel like it's strange. You don't have to argue. Argument is not the same as misunderstanding. You will have misunderstanding whereby, you want things this way, he doesn't want it that way. You understand this way, he doesn't understand it that way. Yeah, you will have that. Recently we I think that was it last week when we broke the fast. We came back to church, and I tried to break my fast. So I got my breakfast, and I didn't ask him whether he wanted anything. So he came to me, he said, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Where is my food? What about me? And I was like, but there is food. Go and serve yourself. I was like, there is food. I was so shocked that he came to me to ask me. I said, there is food, there's everything. And he was also thinking that, well, every Sunday when we finish church, you always serve both of us. You don't eat alone. So what changed? How come you just come and you are eating by yourself? And I was like, so that was like a misunderstanding, but it wasn't argument. Argument is when you start raising your voice. This person is saying that person is saying that, you're shouting on each other, you are using wrong words, and you've lost it. Okay, that is more like an argument. But when you have a misunderstanding, and it's fine. Those things are fine. So we need to get the meaning of argument right and what misunderstanding is. You can talk over things without screaming, without insulting each other, without shouting on top of your voice. You can do it. You just have to be conscious and say to yourself that we are not going to argue. You can do it. You can do it. So don't make it a doctrine that every marriage must go through arguments. Maybe misunderstanding. Yeah, because you are different people. Even your home, your siblings, you do misunderstand. You have misunderstanding with them. It's not everything they do that you accept and you agree. No. It's not everything that your husband is going to do that you accept or agree to. But it doesn't mean that you are fighting. It doesn't mean you are fighting. It doesn't mean you are arguing and shouting on top of your voice. It doesn't mean that. Okay, so make up your mind that things are not going to be the same the way they were when you were dating and now. Now the reality of things kicks in. You are now in reality. And it is a different stage altogether. Okay, for me, I see it as a beautiful thing because these are things that I really didn't know. And the vulnerability, the fact that I can now see how you do your things, how you bath, how you brush your teeth, how when you are sexually aroused, how you behave. I can see all of that. Other people cannot see it. I can present myself, I come and speak, pray for people, they get healed. Or my husband knows how I behave when it's time for sex. Somebody else doesn't know. My husband knows how, if I'm hurt, the way I'll come and cry. There are things that I'm the type of person that I don't cry over big things. No, something massive can happen. I'm smiling, I'm laughing. And then the little things are the things I'll cry over. Things that I should not cry over. You see me like, my husband is like, what's wrong? Yeah. So it's just different. It's just a different stage you are. You're beginning to see each other the more, in a more real way. And there's another thing as well. The phone calls will reduce. Okay, so when you get married, don't expect that the way you used to talk and you used to be on the phone every day is going to be the same. No, it's not going to be the same. But guess what? You're going to now talk more face to face. That is even better than speaking on the phone. Okay, so you get to spend more time together. When we got married, I think after the honeymoon, we went to somewhere to get some stuff. And then he was trying to find parking. I had to go and get the stuff. So I had my phone. And I took my phone to call him. And I realized, the call log. When you're in a relationship, his name is always first. You always see her name first. And I checked the call log and it's like his name was last. So I said, wow, it's been 2 weeks of not speaking to him over the phone. But when you were in the relationship, you talk. We used to talk. My husband used to be very funny. He will call me late after work. We'll be talking. I will hear him trying to sleep. He's falling asleep over the phone. I'll say, Ken, do you want to sleep? Let's end the call so that you go and sleep. He said, no, it's okay, don't worry. And he will fall asleep over the phone. He will go silent. So I will say, Ken, hello. He's gone. So I will call back. He will pick the phone. It's like, you slept. You fell asleep. So really? I said, okay, you go to bed. No, let's talk. I was like, you are sleeping. Go to bed. It will not happen like that. You will not be on the phone. What's the point? You are in the same house. Why are you now going to be calling for what? Yeah? So things will change, but it's a good change. It's a positive change. Okay. Maybe at the moment you are seeing it as if it's so difficult because there are certain things you don't expect. You are not expecting that he will be in a certain way. He will do things the way he's doing. But to me, it's not a negative. Don't see it in a negative way. See it as an opportunity for you to know him better. You're getting to know the real person, and then you see how to work towards it to bring the best out of it. If you start thinking about it as, oh, I've made a mistake. This is not what I wanted. I didn't want a man who snores. I didn't pray for a man who eats too much. I didn't pray for a man who has bad odor. I didn't pray for a man who, a woman who doesn't know how to cook. Because some women don't know how to cook. I didn't pray for a woman who doesn't know how to kiss. I didn't pray for a woman who doesn't know how to manage money. I didn't know. If you start thinking about all of that, you will start putting on the wrong attitude. Instead of you now supporting each other and trying to understand and adjusting to suit each other, you realize that you are busy trying to correct. But you can't really change the person. You have to support them, and through the support, they will begin to adjust to suit you. Okay, so those are some of the things. And I think that it is beautiful. It is beautiful. The dynamics from relationship to courtship, the dynamics from relationship or courtship to marriage is different, and it is unique in itself. Okay. And this is where people start getting problems because they are thinking, they get so disappointed about the outcome of things. And it could be because of their expectations. They are thinking that the person have changed. So they start losing interest in the person. And there are marriages who are breaking down. In the first year, it's breaking down. In the first 6 months, it's breaking down even 2 weeks. Because people are beginning to now see certain things like, wow, I'm so disappointed. Hey, this is not what I bargained for. Let me share something with you that the Holy Spirit corrected me. When we got married, I think we were home for a while before we started working. So I think the first week, my husband went to work. It was a Friday. We normally go for house fellowship on Fridays. So the whole day, I didn't hear from my husband. I was thinking, I've been calling. I called and called and called. There was no response. And the type of job my husband does, I know he will use his phone. I was thinking, but he would have seen my missed call and called me back. What's going on? So I was very upset. And then I got home. He wasn't home. Of course, I knew that, you see, that the plan was when we get home, we'll go to house fellowship. And I think on his way, when he was coming home, he went to house fellowship. He probably thought I was going to get home late. I don't know what happened. So I was at home, I was fuming, and then I texted him. I said, "Are you okay? Is everything okay with you?" So he now texted me to say that he was on his way. And that was around 9 p.m. From morning to 9 p.m. So I was just in the kitchen and rehearsing what I was going to tell him. I was saying, number one, we just got married. Number two, it is only the two of us here. Our parents are not with us. If your parents should call me right now and say, "Where is Adam?" What am I going to say? I don't know where he is. The whole day I've not heard from him. So I was so upset. Like, how can you do such a thing? Anyway, so I was in the kitchen. I was just waiting, that he would come, and then I would just pour my heart. And then immediately he started opening the door. The Holy Spirit said, "Don't say any of the things you plan to say." And I said, "Why?" And he was like, "Has he done this before?" I said, "No." And I said, "Yeah, but he's never done it before. However, I don't want him to do it again. So I need to nip it in the bud." That was my mindset. The Holy Spirit said, "He's never done it before. You have to observe and see if he'll do it again. And also, he's not a child for you to nip it in the bud." So some of us, we feel like, "Oh, I've just seen this bad attitude. I've just seen this bad behavior. Let me kill it now. If not, it will become worse." Well, the person is not a child. So you cannot nip it in the bud. You cannot kill it. Because maybe it was just a one-off. You never know if he's going to do it again. Or you don't even know what happened whilst the person was away. So your attitude, the way you respond to things is very important. So he got in. I went and welcomed him. Then I said, "I've been trying to call you." And he said, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. I've had a very busy day. And when I was getting home, I decided to go to the house group. I couldn't text you. Sorry about that." And in my heart, I felt like, if it is not the Holy Spirit, if it's not the Holy Spirit, and I just calmed myself. And since then, he's not done it. He's not done it. So you see, if I had reacted in that way, I would have messed up something. It would have been like, "Oh, you don't trust me. You didn't even care about what may be happening to me outside. You didn't even ask me if everything is fine before you started reacting. You are thinking about yourself only." So we need to be very careful how we react. Don't try to quickly nip something in the bud, because it may just be a one-off thing that is happening and the person may never do it again. Okay, don't forget, you are just now beginning to know the person more. Okay, then I've said here that the person hasn't changed. They are the same person that you met and fell in love with, but you are now discovering more about them because of the closeness that you now have. And even in real life, we always say that the people who are very close to you are the people that will hurt you more. So see it that way. Sometimes we get to see the way how frail the person is. We get to know what really hurts them. I know which words not to use on my husband, not to use, even if it's not insultive word. I know which words not to use. And I know which words that if I use, I'll get my way around things. But, and this is why sometimes people hurt themselves. Couples will hurt themselves because they get to know that if I say this to my husband, this is what he would do. If I behave this way, I'll get this. So they start behaving that way, but don't abuse the trust. Don't abuse the fact that the person has been vulnerable. You've got to know who they are. Don't start using words to get your way around things. Okay, respect them, cover them, protect them, and you'll be fine. Okay, so your reactions about the discoveries that you are making about each other is determined by your expectations, the expectations you had before coming into the marriage. it would that is what, that would determine how you react. And then your maturity, your ability to handle things. One of the things that happened was when we got married, there were things that my husband would pick up on, saying, oh, you didn't do this, you did this way, why do you do this that way, that kind of thing. And every time he does it, I'm like, this man, you see, does he think that I can't pick on anything? Because sometimes we feel like because we are the ones picking on so many things, we feel like the other person, they are quiet, so we think we are fine. I don't know if I'm making sense. If you are the one picking up on so many things, so many faults, and the other person is not saying anything, you may feel like you are perfect. Okay, so you used to pick on this. You didn't do this properly. Can you do this more? Can you do this? I'm like, hey. So one day I sat him down. I said, why do you pick on so many things? Do you think that I can't pick on anything? So I said to him, see, if I want to pick on something, I'll pick on this. So I started naming all the things. I'll pick on this. I'll pick on that. I'll pick on that. But that's not how I want to do things, because first of all, we've just got married. We are discovering each other. Okay, there are certain things that will come as a shock to you, but you've got to be careful how you pick, because what you do is you will make the other person feel uncomfortable. They will now begin to feel like they are walking on eggshells, and you don't want that. You want freedom. You want the person to be free, to be happy, to be comfortable, come to you at any time, play with you at any time. Okay, and have a listening ear. If they are picking on something, also it's because it's important to them. So listen, work on things where they have to be worked on. But maturity, your ability to be able to handle things, your ability to be able to see certain things and not be quick to pick on them. Okay, where you can correct. Where you can do them yourself, do it. Don't expect, because sometimes it's like expectation. We're expecting that the person will do this, do that. So when they are not doing, then it becomes an issue. So your maturity and ability to manage the expectations that you have, and your own overall knowledge about marriage and life itself will determine how you react to some of these things. Okay, because in marriage, what really bonds you and keep you stronger is the number of challenges you've been able to overcome. Okay, but unfortunately, in the generation we are, everybody is quick. They want to microwave things, everything to be. They don't want to put in any hard work, but they want the result. So things are not lasting. Marriages are not lasting because they want their way. You want to be married and still be single at the same time. I want to eat my cake and still have it. Yeah, I'm single, I'm married, but I still want my freedom. I still want to have my own money. I still want to buy my own house. I still want to do my own things. I still want to go out and mingle with my friends. You can't have both. You are married. And you can either, if you want to be single again, you can go. And so many people are choosing to be single again. So they leave their husbands, they leave their wives and go. But it's your maturity. If you understand marriage, if you understand that it's the two becoming one flesh, it is no longer you, it is no longer me, it's we. It's the two of us becoming one. Okay, and all the differences that you have, God didn't make a mistake by putting the two of you together. He didn't. There's a certain way I am, my husband is not like that. But it blends. We're waiting for this breakthrough to come in. We've done everything that we wanted to do, and the people were delaying. And I remember, my husband used to call. He was the one relating to the people, and I was like, why is it taking so long? It was taking so long. We've done everything. So one day I was at home. My husband called them. He called the people, and he was speaking to them over the phone. Very nice. He was so nice. And when they finished the phone, I said, King, is this how you speak to them? Oh, no wonder the thing has delayed, because he's done everything. There's no excuse for them to still be delaying anything. But they were just taking the mic because he was nice to them anytime he called. So they didn't feel pressure to work on it for him. So So I said to him, Kim, you've got to put pressure on them. I said, can we call them this evening? Can we call them tomorrow? Can we call them this day? Tell them that they don't have any reason to keep us waiting anymore, blah, blah, blah. So I started putting pressure. That was an aspect of me that he didn't have, you know. And immediately he started putting pressure. I remember he called them, he said, what is the delay? What is causing the delay? We submitted everything. And they were like, give us up to 2 weeks. And I'm telling you, it didn't take long. We got it. But, you know, this is my side. He's got his side and a compliment. Maybe left to him alone, he would have been just be nice. But my fire aspect helped things to quicken up. So you are different, but you complement each other. And where you are, you realize that where you are very weak, that is where your partner is very strong. God is just beautiful like that. He just put things together like that. So your differences is not supposed to tear you apart. It's supposed to bring you together. So accept each other's differences, help each other to become better, to improve where you want them to improve. But then you have to do it in an understanding and loving way. So I'm going to read something that my husband has posted a few months ago. And then it was more about expectations. So I asked the question, what were people's expectations before they got married? Yeah. And he said, let me start by saying that there is nothing wrong with marriage. Yeah. For people who may think that marriage is wrong, it is wrong to the degree of the people in the marriage. Hence, the quality of the individuals in the marriage determines the quality of the marriage. Okay. Again, marriage is both earthly and physical, but heavenly to the degree of the methods subscribed to make it a bliss. So heaven on earth marriage is possible when the two people are willing to make it work. It's not a cliche when it's said that mentality affects reality, your mindset. The scripture says, your expectations shall not be cut off. Proverbs 23:18. There is one thing to believe and expect, and it's another to work your expectations. Both believing your expectations and working out your expectations, in my opinion, makes marriage an exciting journey. Okay, so whatever expectation you have, whatever kind of marriage, I've always said this, if you've been following me, I've always said that, what kind of marriage do you want? Okay, that is your expectation, because people say, oh, don't go into marriage with any expectations. It is not possible for you to go into marriage with no expectations. The Bible expects us. He said the expectations of the righteous shall not be cut off. So God even knows that we have expectations. Life is full of expectations. Right from when you were a child, your parents expect you to go to school. They expect you that when you go to school, you pass your exams. They expect that you go to university. If they are taking care of you, they expect that you come out of university with a good degree. Society puts expectations on you. You know, whether you like it or not, your church expect that you be a good girl. Your pastors, your teachers expect that you pass the exams. You know, so expectations are everywhere. And when you are single, people are expecting that you get married. When you get married, they're expecting something else. So society puts expectations on us, and we also have our own expectations. So it is not possible for anyone to enter into marriage without expecting anything. At least they will expect that their marriage is not going to break. Everybody enters marriage with an expectation that this marriage is going to work. Even those who are not sure, they still believe that it will work out. So I hear people say that all the time, oh, it's not good to enter into marriage. It depends on what type of expectation you have. Okay, so let me continue reading. He said, with this said, before I got married, that's my husband, I was looking forward to a peaceful marriage, and through prayer and effort, we have it. Now, he made it very clear. The peaceful marriage is not because we are beautiful. It's not because we are CEO and founder of Single with a Life, Married with a Life, PDMMIH. No. It is through prayer and effort, which many of us don't want to do. We don't want to put in effort to anything. We don't pray. We are married, we go and we just sleep. Some of us, when we're single, we used to pray. You know how you got your husband, you know how you got your wife. You used to go to prayer meetings every day. Every prayer can be visited. Now you are married, you are sleeping. You've not even open, you don't even open your Bible. And you don't understand why things are going, because the devil is watching. So you've got to protect your marriage. You've got to put in effort. Not that every single thing you are packing your things and you are leaving. Every single thing you are telling your wife, I'll leave you. Every single thing you are telling your husband, well, if I didn't marry you, nobody will marry you. If you are doing that and you are not putting effort to work on things. Yeah. So he said, I was not sure how the dynamics of change was going to work out, but it's working out through patience and compromise. Through patience and compromise. So please take note of the key words: prayer, effort, compromise, patience. For example, this is where it gets interesting. He's talking about me now. She likes her food hot, but I like mine lukewarm, and so we meet in the middle. She likes crispy chips. I like it soft, so she sets mine aside before it gets crispy. Her idea of eating together is eating from the same plate on the same dining table, but my idea of eating together is eating from separate plates on the same dining table. Can you imagine this? When we eating together, does it have to be on separate plates? Yeah, me eating together is we eating from the same plate, but you see some of the differences. Apologies. Said, and so we try to do both. And she can cook. This one is like a bonus, and she can cook. Okay, so sometimes we eat from the same plate. Sometimes we eat from different plates because we want to meet in the middle. And it's the same thing to do with serving the food. Sometimes my husband just wants to serve himself. So if I want to serve you, say, don't worry, I'll go and serve myself. Sometimes I serve, sometimes he serves. So it is not like a definite, you must serve. You are the woman, so you must serve the food. You are the male, so you have to do this. No, we look at what works for us. Yeah. She is great at making traditional food, but I'm great at making exotic foods. And so we mix it together and we have varied food options. I like to jog early in the morning. She likes a jog later in the morning, and so we jog in between early and later morning. You know, sometimes some of these things that he listed, I didn't even think about it too. It was when I was reading through, I said, wow, are these some of the things we've had to work through? I didn't realize, she likes me to brush. She likes me to brush my teeth before I bath in the evening. Hey, but why? I don't see the point whereby you're going to bath and then you finish bathing and then you come and brush your teeth. For me, anyway, people are different. So she likes me to brush my teeth before I bath in the evening. But I sometimes do it before and sometimes after. Same difference, I think. She likes cuddles and cuddles unexpectedly, but I'm not really a hugger. I hug on purpose. Hey, Mr. Amewowor. But because she likes it, I try to hug and kiss her unexpectedly to make it work. And sex is great anyway. That's another bonus. I don't know why you put that there. So she likes us to walk into the bathroom together. To bath, but for me, it does not matter when, as long as we are in the bathroom together. Because I know why he's saying that, because sometimes I will just follow him and it's like I'm behind him, I'm pushing him, let's go and bath. So that's why he's saying that. She likes for us to match outfit. This is the big one. But for me, as long as it's occasional, I'm fine with it. So we make something work. One of the things I love when I see couples do is when they match their outfits. They wear the same clothing, fabric, the same things. My husband he doesn't care whether we are matching, we are not matching. It's not a big thing to him. So this is one of the areas that sometimes every Sunday he's taking something out to iron. I'm like, how do I match? How do I match? Can we match? Can we match? It's not a big deal to him, but so those are some of the things that you have to compromise. Yeah. She is spontaneous. I like to plan it. We meet somewhere and the dynamics is great. She is a cautious driver. I'm a skillful driver. You see, every man feels they are skillful drivers. Hey, who sometimes does little maneuvers on the road without trying not to get her upset. But she now knows how and when to speak. So we are okay. I remember when we almost had a problem one day on the road. We were approaching this zebra crossing. And there was somebody coming. And he wasn't stopping on time. I'm like, King, there's somebody crossing. And it's like, I've seen the person. I said, but you didn't show any sign that you are stopping. Men like to, when they're on the road, the way they drive, it's like, this is not the time to do adventure, So, nowadays, I don't talk that much. I look, and unless it's getting very serious, then I'll say something. I'll say, please, can you slow down, or that kind of thing. So, said when we come home from outside, example church, she liked to get the lunch, dinner ready. This one is, he's exposing me. She liked to get the dinner and lunch ready in an outing outfit. I like to change before going to the kitchen or dining area. Perhaps she will change, no problem. You see, this thing, I used to do this thing when I was single. One of the houses that I lived in, it was with a French woman. I rented a house there. And every time I come back from home and I go and cook, I don't change my outfit because I have this mentality that what I've just worn, I'm going to wash it anyway. So I'll just go to the kitchen and then cook. And then from there, I will come back. So that's what he's saying. I've taken it into my marriage. You see, I didn't change. And that woman used to tell me, why do you cook in your nice outfit? Take it off, And I didn't take it seriously and I entered my marriage with it. So it's like that. Maybe sometimes, you are doing some certain things that people are advising you. You don't know who you're going to marry. The person may not like that. So if they advise you about something, change it. Okay, so the other one, she's not used to a house where heating is not on almost all day, but I don't see it as economically beneficial, and so we schedule the heating when it is needed most. Okay, so this is to do with when it's winter, because we got married in the winter. When I was living alone, the house that I was living in, the heating was on the whole day, 24/7. So I was used to it, and then we got married, and my husband is like, the heating can't be on every day because, it's a lot of money to keep the heating on. So we need to schedule it, and it was like unheard of. So you see, there's a lot of compromises. These are just a few. This is what he has put down. If maybe I also have to sit down and start planning, start thinking about some of the things I've compromised on, it may be more, yeah? And one of the areas I've compromised a lot is food, because I'm not very fussy when it comes to food. And he's the type that will have to think about what he wants to eat. So because of that, I do what he wants to eat. I don't think about me when it comes to food. If you want to eat this, I eat it. It just once in a while, sometimes I go and ask him, what would you like us to eat this evening? And then he will also ask me, what do you want to eat? I don't know, probably he got to know that I'm always asking him and we eat what he wants. So it was almost like a nice way of also making me eat what I want. So when I ask him, he will ask me back, what do you want us to eat? And then I will say, okay, can we have this? I said, okay. And then we have it. Sometimes he will tell me what he wants and then we eat it. It's not a problem to me. Some things, don't make a big deal out of certain things. Okay, so I think there's something else here. He said, I met a client of mine this week who told me he has been married for 61 years, irrespective of their differences. The point is, change is constant, and the people with the greatest flexibility are the people who always win. The moment you stop to adapt, evolve, and innovate, that's the moment you start to die. But teamwork always lasts last. I repeat, there is nothing wrong with marriage. when you have made up your mind to make it work, you will always find a way to make it work. Every grace and blessing. This is from my darling king husband, Mr. Amewowor. Yeah, I think it has summed up everything that I'm saying very nicely. And the last thing that I will say is that your expectations are very important. There's nothing wrong with expectations, but what expectations have you entered your marriage with? Are these godly and realistic expectations? Or are they based on what people are expecting of you? Yeah. How do you manage these expectations? How do you tune your mindset to your new life? Yeah. How do you compromise and adjust to suit each other to bring the best out of your marriage? Okay, so these are the things that we'll touch on in 2 weeks' time in episode 9. How to work those expectations and bring the best out of your marriage, how to adjust. Okay, so God bless you. I hope you've been blessed following my episode. Somebody sent me a message on WhatsApp. She said, I asked her, what brings you to me? And she said, I've watched all your episodes from 1 to 7. That was last week. She said, I really love them. So I just decided to send you a message. I said, oh, okay. That's nice to know. Yeah. So I believe that you've been blessed. Please leave your questions. Okay. I'm not getting too many questions coming in. Bring your questions so that, we can find a way to help. Yeah. My husband's schedule is not allowing him to join me, but he's said that he will join me one of these days. Okay. And even if he's not able to join, like the message he put together, I can get the same something from him and read it to you. Yeah, so please leave your message. Share this broadcast with your friends. Share it with your friends. If you've enjoyed it, post on the comment, what have you learned? What have you learned? Especially if you're a Swalian, if you are a Mwalian, what have you learned from this? Yeah. What have you learned from this message that you can take on board to help you towards your marriage? God bless you. Let me read a few comments and see if there's any question there. So, hiding under the duvet. I think this my hiding under the duvet has caused a lot of you have no idea. When you don't want to talk but you are angry, you will hide under anything. Somebody said men can flex anti-peace. Food to his flexing. Okay. Learning the difference between argument and misunderstanding. Yeah. Hey, somebody said, if it's not the Holy Spirit, like the way you tear him apart. So I don't think I'll tear him apart though. If I tear him apart, hey, what will happen? Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to make sure that I can respond to. Somebody said, I do say well from work to kitchen. Please repent. Make sure you go and change your clothing before you go to the kitchen. Hey, Auntie Evelyn, nice to hear from you. God bless you. If you want to join our WhatsApp group, you have to pass orientation. I just saw a comment in the morning. Somebody said, I've been asking you to add me to your group and you've not added me. We don't add people like that. You have to join, pass the orientation. It's 8 days. Without orientation, it doesn't matter whether you are my niece, you are my whatever, you will not be able to join. Okay, so please follow the link. If you go to www.singlewithalive, on the home page, just click on the link that says join us on WhatsApp. Please read everything there, because I realize that many people don't read. They just immediately the WhatsApp button pops up, they just click and they start asking to join. Read everything first and see if it's something that you want to be part of, because the WhatsApp group is you have to love to read. to be able to join it, because we do everything by texting, and then you have to have a lot of money to top up your bundle, because if we post links, if we post audios, you want to download it, it takes a lot of money to do that, especially for those of you in Africa. So please, don't just be pushing and putting pressure on me, because I will not let you join unless you pass the orientation. Okay, if you want to join Married with a Life, you can like the page and then click on following, and every time we are on live, you can see it. Or we have YouTube channel as well for Swal and Mwal, and all the videos are there. Normally I edit these videos, so it's much shorter for the ones on YouTube. Okay, so help us to spread the vision. We are starting Operation Spread Swal for those of you who are single. It's starting tomorrow by God's grace. So let's share all our messages and be a blessing to somebody out there. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Bye.